Imagine a city, vast and ancient, lying beneath the waves, whispering tales not of thousands, but of tens of thousands of years. What if everything we thought we knew about human civilization was wrong? For centuries, our understanding of history has been built upon certain cornerstones. We picture our ancestors from the last ice age as nomadic hunter-gatherers, living simple lives in a harsh, untamed world. But deep beneath the waters of the Gulf of Khambhat, off the western coast of India, something was found that threatened to shatter every single one of those assumptions. This isn't just an archaeological discovery, it's a window into a past so distant, so unexpected, it might just force us to rewrite the textbooks. Get ready, because the story of this sunken city challenges the very fabric of our historical timeline, pushing the origins of advanced human civilization back by an incredible 32,000 years. The year was 2001, far from the dusty desert digs or lush river valleys where history is usually unearthed. A team of Indian scientists from the National Institute of Ocean Technology, or NIOT, was conducting a routine survey. Their mission wasn't to find ancient cities. They were simply mapping pollution levels and monitoring sediment flow in the Gulf of Khambhat, a busy waterway that once went by the name Gulf of Cambay. Using state-of-the-art side-scan sonar, a technology that bounces sound waves off the seabed to create detailed images, they were charting the ocean floor at depths of approximately 120 feet. It was a methodical, almost mundane task. But then, their screens began to flicker with something extraordinary. What appeared on their sonar images wasn't the expected uniform seabed or even natural rock formations. Instead, the sonar painted a picture of something organized, deliberate, and undeniably man-made. Imagine seeing clear, right-angled lines, perfectly straight walls, and symmetrical patterns emerging from the murky depths. It was like looking down from an airplane and seeing the layout of a city, only this city was completely submerged. The sheer scale of the discovery was breathtaking. The sonar picked up what looked like the ruins of a sprawling metropolis, not just a few scattered buildings. This wasn't some small village or isolated settlement. The structures appeared to be arranged in grids, suggesting sophisticated urban planning. They saw what looked like the foundations of buildings, streets, and even the remnants of a massive, imposing citadel, perhaps a central fortress or temple complex. What's more, these geometric structures stretched for an astonishing 9 kilometers, that's roughly 5.6 miles, along the ocean floor. To put that into perspective, imagine a city roughly the size of a modern-day medium-sized town, all of it lost beneath the waves. The images were compelling, hinting at an incredibly advanced society that once thrived in this now submerged landscape. But seeing shapes on a sonar screen is one thing, proving they are indeed an ancient city, and then dating them is another challenge entirely. The NIOT team didn't just rely on images, they followed up their sonar findings with dredging operations. This involved dragging equipment along the seabed to retrieve physical samples, and what they pulled up from the depths was truly astonishing. Among the sediment and debris, they found pottery fragments, clearly identifiable as manufactured artifacts. More critically, they recovered pieces of wood, not just any wood, but large planks and pieces that appeared to be part of ancient construction. These material finds were the key. Scientists could now perform carbon dating, a reliable method for determining the age of organic materials. They sent the wood samples to laboratories in India and Germany for analysis. The results that came back were, to put it mildly, the carbon dating indicated an age range for these wooden artifacts of between 19,500 and 32,000 years old. Let that sink in for a moment. 32. To understand the magnitude of this number, you have to place it in context with what we currently know about human history. For decades, even centuries, archaeology has taught us that the oldest known civilizations, those with complex urban societies, monumental architecture, and organized governance, emerged around 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. We're talking about the cradle of civilization in Sumer, ancient Egypt, with its pyramids, and later the sophisticated Indus Valley civilization, which peaked around 4,500 years ago. These are the benchmark for early complex societies, but the sunken city of Khambhat wasn't just a little bit older. It predated these established civilizations by tens of. It pushed the timeline for organized urban life back not by a few centuries, but by an unbelievable 25,000 to 27,000 years. This wasn't just rewriting a chapter of history, it was rewriting the entire book. It suggested that long before the Sumerians were scribbling on clay tablets, long before the pharaohs built their majestic tombs, and long before the Indus Valley people laid out their grid-planned cities, an equally, if not more, ancient and advanced civilization flourished off the coast of what is now India. This discovery throws a massive wrench into our conventional understanding of the last ice age. Historically, that period, which ended roughly 11,700 years ago, is associated with Ice Age hunter-gatherer societies. We imagine people in caves using basic stone tools, chasing mammoths across frozen landscapes. The idea of a sprawling, sophisticated city with geometric planning and presumably advanced social structures existing during the deepest part of the last ice age, when massive ice sheets covered much of the northern hemisphere, seems almost impossible. It completely upends the widely accepted narrative of human progress. It suggests a level of human ingenuity and organizational capability that we simply hadn't attributed to that distant past. So, how did a city of such apparent grandeur end up at the bottom of the sea? The answer lies in the dramatic climate shifts at the end of the last glacial period. During the Ice Age, vast amounts of the Earth's water were locked up in massive glaciers and ice caps. This meant global sea levels were significantly lower than they are today, by as much as 120 meters, or nearly 400 feet. The Gulf of Khambhat, which is relatively shallow now, would have been dry land. The area where the city lies was likely situated near the mouth of ancient river systems, a prime location for a thriving settlement. Access to fresh water, fertile land, and transportation via rivers would have made it an ideal spot for a burgeoning civilization. However, as the Earth's climate began to warm and the last ice age drew to a close, roughly between 20,000 and 10,000 years ago, these immense glaciers started to melt. This wasn't a slow, gentle rise in sea levels. It was a dramatic and relentless inundation. Over thousands of years, the oceans crept higher and higher, eventually reclaiming vast swathes of coastal land across the globe. For the inhabitants of the city in the Gulf of Khambhat, this would have been a slow-motion disaster, a relentless retreat until their entire world was swallowed by the sea. The timing of this submergence, coinciding with the end of the last glacial period, perfectly aligns with the possibility of a civilization existing there during the Ice Age, and then being lost to the rising waters. But with claims so monumental, skepticism is not just expected, it's necessary. The discovery of the Gulf of Khambhat city has, understandably, been met with a healthy dose of controversy and critical examination from the wider archaeological community. The main argument put forth by skeptics centers on the interpretation of the sonar images. They suggest that what NIOT identified as geometric structures, grids, and buildings could in fact be natural geological formations. The seabed is full of fascinating, often regular, shapes created by currents, erosion, and natural rock formations. Without direct visual confirmation from extensive underwater excavation, some argue that it's difficult to definitively distinguish between natural patterns and man-made ruins solely based on sonar. Another significant criticism has been leveled at the dating of the materials. While carbon dating is a precise science, its reliability hinges on the samples being directly associated with the structures in question. Skeptics point out that the wood fragments and pottery shards retrieved by the NIOT team could have been washed into the area from other sources. A piece of ancient wood, for example, might have floated down a river and settled amongst natural rock formations, leading to an incorrect assumption that it was part of a submerged city. For the dates to be truly conclusive, the materials would need to be excavated in situ, meaning directly from the context of the structures, unequivocally proving they were part of the construction or occupation of the site. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of this entire enigma is the lack of extensive, verifiable follow-up. Despite the initial groundbreaking discovery and the tantalizing implications, the Indian government has not pursued a large-scale, sustained underwater excavation of the site. Such an undertaking would be incredibly expensive and technically challenging, requiring specialized equipment and a dedicated team of underwater archaeologists. Without this kind of thorough, peer-reviewed excavation and detailed analysis of the structures themselves, the Gulf of Khambhat city remains largely unverified in the eyes of many international archaeologists. It exists in a kind of academic limbo, a compelling possibility, but not yet a definitively proven fact. Yet, if the findings are indeed validated, if future, more thorough explorations confirm the existence of a 32,000-year-old city, the implications would be nothing short of profound. This wouldn't just be a footnote in history, it would necessitate a complete rewrite of our understanding of ancient human history and the timeline of civilization itself. It would force us to seriously consider the idea that human civilization is far older and possibly far more technologically advanced than our current models allow for. It would open up questions about what other advanced societies might have existed during the last ice age. Swallowed by rising seas or buried beneath millennia of sediment, waiting to be rediscovered. It would challenge our perceptions of progress, suggesting that complex societies might have risen and fallen many times throughout Earth's history, with each collapse erasing the evidence of what came before. For now, the sunken city off India's coast remains a tantalizing mystery, a silent witness to a forgotten epoch, a submerged world awaiting deeper exploration. It is a powerful reminder that the ocean still holds countless secrets, and our history books might still be missing some of their most astonishing chapters. What else lies hidden beneath the waves, waiting for us to find it? If you're as fascinated by these ancient mysteries as we are, make sure to check out our next video about other incredible lost civilizations.